Hey everyone, it's Darth Nihilus here, back to you today with another video. And in today's video, I just wanted to take the time to talk about the fact that I don't deserve to have or be with a woman, nor do I think for a second that I am entitled to a woman. And I wanted to start off this video by saying that, despite the obvious fact, that I am a incel, and that's just the reality of my life. That's what I myself personally, as a man and as a human being, have to accept, deal with, and live with the best that I possibly can, even though it's not easy, and it certainly isn't like fun or normal either. But despite the fact that I am an incel, without a doubt, like 100% am an incel, a raging virgin, black-pilled incel who is very dark-minded and just filled to the brim with misery, hopelessness, despair, being emotionally damaged and torn apart on the inside, shattered beyond repair. Even with that all being said, I don't think for a second that I deserve to have or be with a woman, nor do I think I am entitled to one either, even though I'm an incel. And obviously, like a lot of normies in this world and in our society will say that, all incels think that they deserve to have a woman, or that they deserve sex, or that they're entitled to a woman, or that they're entitled to sex. Well, I guess I'm a rare incel then, because I don't think I deserve to have or be with a woman. I don't think for a second that I'm entitled to one, and I apologize for repeating myself. I know that that is annoying and repetitive, but I can't help it. This is just the way I am, and it's the way I've always been my whole life, for as long as I can remember. But I try my best not to. But, I like I said, I guess I'm a rare incel then. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm unique in that sort of sense or in that regard. Because even when I see an attractive woman that I really wish I could have more than anything, that I would love to have, that I want, that I crave, that I desire, more than any of you could possibly ever understand, I don't think that I deserve her. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing my words. But anyways, I don't think I deserve her. Whatever attractive woman I'm looking at out in public, whenever, wherever, I never have the thought cross my mind or heart that I deserve her. I'm entitled to her. Or that, like, I deserve, like, her to give me or offer me sex, or that I am entitled to her to give me sex. Instead, what I feel in my heart and in my mind, despite the fact of how dark and black my heart, mind, and if anything, soul is as well, I feel and think in my mind and in my heart that she deserves better. She deserves a good man. A man who is, a good man in the sense of being traditional, being masculine, being a great protector, a man who is a good provider, a man who has morals, a man who, if anything, is religious, who also is modest, who has dignity, who has self-respect, who loves himself, who's a normal guy, and who is a contributor to our society, and who, has something to offer, something good, obviously, and someone who would not only be a good father, but also a good husband as well. A man like that, whenever I see a beautiful woman that I wish I could have for myself, obviously, that I would love to have, that I want, that I crave, that I desire like hell, at the same exact time, I don't think for a second that I deserve to be with that woman, or that I am entitled to be with that woman. I mean, at the most, I would say, when it comes to me, at least as an incel, I think sometimes that that woman should be with me instead of being with, whatever guy she's with. Even if I don't personally know that guy, out of anger and out of being sexually frustrated for, a long time, like I have been now for many years now, out of anger, out of incel rage, and out of hatred, out of jealousy, out of envy, out of sexual frustration, that I don't expect any of you normies to ever possibly understand or comprehend yourselves, when your lives, at least compared to mine, were so much better and so much greater. And you had so many more opportunities and privileges and experiences in life than I ever did have myself. And out of anger, out of hatred, out of jealousy, out of envy, out of incel rage, out of sexual frustration, at the most, I will think to myself, whenever I see an attractive woman who obviously and of course is taken, which is pretty much always the case, or almost always the case at least, I think or feel to myself, she should be with me and not that guy. She should be with me instead. But even then, I don't feel like that's saying or thinking to myself that I deserve her or that I am entitled to her. It's just me thinking and feeling to myself that I think she should be with me instead and not with the guy that she's with. I mean, also, like, when it comes to me as an incel, I think when it comes to the kind of standards and expectations that especially most of all modern day women have for their ideal man, or a man that they themselves would consider or label a perfect man, and what they're like, what women's wants and desires are, what their needs are insane, unrealistic, unachievable, impossible to reach. They're just, their minds and their hearts are just so set in La La Land. Their ideas of a perfect man, or their expectations and standards of what they think a man should be to earn them or deserve them or whatever, has to meet all these like criteria or whatever. And I think when it comes to women and what their expectations are, they're unrealistic, they're fantasy, they're fake, they're insane. They expect and demand way too much from men, which is just unfair, especially considering the fact that most women of today, the vast majority of them, regardless of what you white knight, women worshipping simps think in your own dim-witted, pathetic, pitiful minds of yours, most women, the vast majority of women, are whores. They're hoes, skanks, sluts, thoughts, all of that shit. All of the above. Women are more promiscuous than ever. They're more hypergamous than ever. They dress like fucking prostitutes. They act like prostitutes. And let's face it, they pretty much are. At the end of the day. With the way that they dress, with the way they act, behave, their personality, their mannerisms, what they think about, where their minds are at, where their hearts are at. They just live practically in almost every day of their whorish lives as a fucking raging prostitute, as a whore, slut, skank, thought, bitch, all of that shit. I mean, seriously, it's heartbreaking. It crushes me, and it is absolutely flat out devastating. You know, this is nothing to like make fun of or to laugh at, because this is our real world. This is our real life. This is the reality of things, the unfortunate, tragic, heartbreaking reality of things, and how women are. And yet, with how most women are nowadays, having OnlyFans and, you know, being a TikTok thought or an Instagram thought or a YouTube thought or a Twitch thought, and I mean, even them being out and about, even in the real world and real life, even if they have a job, they still have an OnlyFans. They're still trying to become a famous internet e-girl, or should I say e-thought, off of the internet. That is their main goal. That is their main desire and hope, longing and yearning and dream, is to be literally an internet slut. That's what their hopes are. That's what their dreams are. That's what their desire is for, I would say, most women. Because again, even women who have jobs in the real world and who actually are working, whether it's at a fast food restaurant or a grocery store job or a factory job, they, like, at least the young ones, the young women of modern day, whether they're in their late teens, like 18, 19, or early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, whatever, they have OnlyFans. They're porn stars practically. They're like homemade porn stars. I mean, of course, they're not famous porn stars by any means, but they're porn stars in their own way or in their own sense. They're a homemade porn star, and they're trying to eventually, in the long run, have a career with being a porn star. As unbelievable and outrageous as that is, that's the reality of things. That is the reality of our world, of our existence, of our society, of our culture when it comes to most modern day women. Especially in Western countries that have such perverted, degenerate, evil, just brainwashed, corrupt, twisted, distorted culture. And, you know, it makes me lose so much of my hope in women, because I can't help but think to myself, are there any good women left? I mean, seriously, I'm honestly wondering and curious about that. Like, are there any good women left in this world? And by good, I mean women who are virgins, who save themselves for marriage, who don't always want and desire the most attractive, good-looking, handsome men who are tall and muscular and who have such high-paying jobs and who are rich and successful and accomplished in life and drive around in fancy cars and have a nice-ass fancy house. And, you know, by good women, I also mean women who aren't always attracted and always wanting to go for guys who are confident and extroverted and charming and who are always so easily able to get with women. Especially when those men aren't very good themselves. And yeah, obviously, and of course, those men always get women. They always have such easy access to them all the time, constantly, 24/7, nonstop. And that is one of the most things that triggers the absolute shit out of me and makes my blood boil and fills me with rage, knowing that these pieces of shit men who are just like the ones I described are so easily able to get with women. Lots of women, tons of women. And of course, they never commit to any of these women. They never actually like marry any of these women or ever get tied down by any of them because they're players. They're man whores. They don't want to be tied down. They have no desire to be tied down. They have no desire to ever get married or ever actually, for that matter, have any children with any of these women that they're sleeping with and racking up such an insane high body count with. And I hate these men. I despise those men in their very existence. I disdain them with all of my heart. My broken, blackened heart, that is. And yet so many women are so into those men. They're just so flustered by them and attracted to them and sexually aroused and stimulated by those men and want to be with those men like crazy all the time. And these women also want to marry those men too, even though those men don't want to marry those women. Because if you're a man who has all that status, you're tall, you're ripped, you're handsome, you have a nice ass job, or you work for yourself, which is even better, and you drive around in fancy ass expensive cars, and you get to travel the world and have all these wonderful experiences of this world, and you can just go anywhere and do anything, anytime, any day that you want. And you can also have any woman you want. So if you're a guy like that and you have all that status, of course you're never going to want to be married. You're never going to want to be tied down. You're always going to want to just keep sleeping around and just keep screwing as many women as you possibly can. And that is pathetic. Absolutely, flat out, without a doubt, pathetic. It's such a perverted, degenerate, immoral, wicked life. Not to mention the fact that it is overrated as shit. It's so overrated and common and popular for men who have all that status to just be players and man whores and just sleep around with any and all women that they want and desire and hope to be with and get with or whatever. And, you know, just racking up an insane high body count and just living such an immoral, degenerate, perverted, wicked life full of mortal sin. And yet that's who women love. That's the kind of men women care about so much and cherish and hope to be with and desire and crave and dream about and fantasize about. It's sickening. And, you know, I seriously hate the men that women get with. And I don't think those men deserve those women any more than I do. And again, I don't think I deserve a woman, like I said at the very beginning of this video. And of course, you motherfuckers can believe me when I say this or not. I mean, that's up to you. I can't make or force any of you believe anything I say, even though I'm being honest. I'm being completely 100% honest, straightforward. I'm an open damn book. And, you know, I am giving all of you, including you bitch-ass retarded normies who are such faggots, who are so obsessed with me and fixated with me to such an unhealthy extent, I'm even giving you my all, because obviously, even when it comes to you normies, you are going to watch my videos regardless of what I say or want. Because if I could have it my way, and if I had the power and control, I would make it so that you normies, you know, never were able to watch my videos or never able to see anything I say online, anywhere. I also would make it so that none of you normies have access to the internet, ever, at all. If I was in, you know, full-on power and control of the internet, and if I owned it, I would make it so that only incels could use it. And that's it. I'm serious. I'm dead-ass serious. I'm not joking. I would make it so that only black-pilled incels, virgin men, were able to use the internet, be on the internet, have access to the internet, and be the only group of people that had the privilege to be on the internet, whether it be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. I would only have it so that, virgin men and maybe virgin women, but it's so very rare when they're women who are virgins. And like when it comes to women who are femcells, they're practically non-existent and make believe, if anything, because when there ever is women who are virgins or femcells or whatever, men are so quick and easy to offer them sex, like left and right, like crazy. That's why there's ultimately can be, realistically speaking, no such thing as a femcell, because I watched a podcast, and it was a clip of the Whatever podcast, where Brian, I think he's like the head guy of the Whatever podcast, went on this Reddit forum, a supposed femcell Reddit forum, and these women were talking about how they're femcells and whatnot, all that bullshit. And then there were tons of guys offering them sex, offering them relationships. And then they closed their group and deleted it because they were so embarrassed, knowing that they think that, they'll never have a boyfriend, they'll never have a husband. And then it's like the moment they start crying and whining about being a femcell and being a virgin or whatever, men are so quick and easy to offer them sex and offer them relationships. But when it comes to us incel men, we don't get that same kind of treatment. That's why ultimately, at the end of the day, there really can be no such thing as femcells. They're fake. They're make-believe. I wish they were real. And if there are any femcell women in this world, I would say the only kind of femcell women that I could even ever possibly imagine who would remain virgins or stay virgins, even though it wouldn't be their choice and decision and it would be like out of their control, is only if it were women who were like physically disabled, mentally disabled, physically especially, so much to the point where they look deformed, like their eyes are deformed, their nose is deformed, their mouth is deformed. And unless they get like plastic surgery or some shit like that, then they're not even gonna look slightly attractive or appealing to men. Like women who are born physically disabled and deformed looking, I feel like the most, like those women would be the most likely to be femcells and to be virgin women who have no choice but to remain single, remain virgins. Because what kind of guy in his right mind would want to ever get with a woman or a girl who's deformed looking, who's disabled, mentally and physically disabled? I mean, I still feel like there would be a limit to even guys willing to offer these supposed alleged femcell women relationships and sex if they're like disabled and deformed, mentally and physically disabled and like physically deformed, then those men probably wouldn't. Now, if they're just simply ugly looking but not like deformed, and if they're like average looking but they're not like deformed average looking girls or women, then yeah, guys would offer women like that relationships and sex, sure, obviously. But if they're ugly or average looking girls or women who are deformed, physically deformed looking in their face, and they have like no control over that, and if they're like mentally deformed too or disabled, and then I feel like those women will probably never ever have any relationships. Like they'll remain single and virgins until the day they die, most likely, as depressing and heartbreaking as that is. And obviously, I actually do feel bad and pity women or girls who are physically deformed and who are like mentally disabled and physically disabled and whatnot. I really do feel sorry and bad for them, genuinely. I'm not kidding. but I'm just saying it how it is. But if you're just an ugly looking girl or woman, or an average looking girl or woman, and as long as you're not like physically deformed and like mentally disabled or both, then I'm sure that those women could easily get into relationships. All they have to do is make a YouTube video or make some post somewhere on the internet, or make a forum about being a femcel or being a virgin or whatever, and then in like a few seconds or minutes or whatever, there'll be guys offering you relationships and sex just like that. But for guys, if we try doing that, or when we try doing that, we don't get anything from it. That's why there is a much higher percentage of men who are incels, who are virgins, because we don't get offered sex. We do not get offered relationships by women like men would do for women who are supposed alleged femcels or women who are virgins. And it's unfair. But it just goes to show how men's lives are just so much more unfair than compared to women's lives, and how men and women do not have equal rights. We don't. And that is just a fact. And, also, I wanted to say and mention in this video that when I used to go to like my parents' church, the one that they go to, and I would see any of the Ukrainian women that I had a crush on, which were only like about 2 or 3 of them, I just thought to myself, not only because I knew for an all-around fact they were out of my league, but also I felt and thought to myself inside that they deserve better. And one of the Ukrainian women that I had a crush on got married, and that really traumatized me and tormented me, attending that wedding, not realizing that I was going to church on a day that there was going to be a wedding right after the fucking church service. And that's when I stopped going to that church completely. And that was a while ago too, like months ago, sometime like last year, but like earlier mid last year, something like that. And it just devastated me. It crushed me. It took a toll on me. And I do not want to ever go to or attend any motherfucking normie's wedding. And I don't care if they're Christians. I don't even care if they're good people who are modest, who are dignified and traditional, and, don't partake in evil, immoral sexual acts like sucking dick and taking dick up the ass. Even if they don't do that, I still want nothing to do with those people because I'm so indifferent to them. And it's also uncomfortable for me and nerve-wracking because culturally, I have nothing in common with Ukrainian women, or men for that matter. Like, I don't feel like I could get along. I feel like they live on a different fucking planet. And, with someone like me, I didn't grow up being surrounded by that many people anyways. I didn't grow up being that much involved in like communities or social activities as a child, as a kid, or as a teenager either. And, I was never able to talk to girls growing up when I was a little boy or a teenage boy. And then I dropped out of high school, and then I haven't really, at least been around and surrounded by girls or women since I was a 16-year-old teenager in 2013, the year and age in which that I dropped out of high school in the 9th grade. And since then, again, I haven't, talked to girls or been around them. And the thing is, even when I was in high school, middle school, elementary school, I didn't fucking talk to girls. Sure, I was surrounded by them, and even that was uncomfortable for me and nerve-wracking. It stressed me out. I was awkward because when it came to girls that I liked, that I had a crush on, that I was sexually attracted to, I was shy of them. I was introverted of them. I had no game, no confidence. I wasn't an extrovert. I can't change who I am. This is me. This is who I've always been my whole damn fucking life. And, you know, it's not like girls make it easy for guys like me who are shy, who are introverted, who even maybe are full on antisocial. I wasn't antisocial. It's just that when talking to girls, I pretty much was, or almost was. I just completely shut down when it came to talking to attractive, beautiful girls. And even being around them and surrounded by them, even though I wasn't talking to them, and even though they weren't talking to me, even being around and surrounded by them stressed me out, made me feel uncomfortable and nervous, and was nerve-wracking. And it was extremely awkward for me. And also, girls or women who are also like attractive to me, at least personally, intimidate me because of how attractive they are and how I believe so strongly that they're out of my league and that I have no shot or chance with them whatsoever. And another thing is, every girl I had a crush on in high school, and I know I've said this countless times, many times over, more times than I needed to, and I apologize for that. Every girl I had a crush on in high school was already taken. They already had a boyfriend. And I'm sure eventually got fucking married and had kids and lived happily ever after. And even when, like, I had a job in the past, and if there was a girl that I thought was attractive that I liked, sure enough, she already had a boyfriend. She was taken. And that's also the really sexually frustrating thing for me being a guy, and especially a virgin incel black-pilled guy, because every girl I have a crush on, whether it was in high school or outside of high school or when I eventually and finally did get jobs, it's like she was already taken. She was already in a relationship because of how beautiful she was. So it's like I could never win. I never had any chance or opportunity. And it's not like I would ever try to steal another guy's girl. I'm not like that kind of person or guy. That's not me. And even if I tried, I wouldn't have been able to because I have no game. I'm not confident. I'm not extroverted. I'm not charming. Like, I have nothing. I'm a nobody. I have nothing to offer. And this is just who I am. And I have to accept this. I have to live with this. I have to deal with this myself. Even though obviously I'm not doing that good of a job at it, because it's not like it's easy. It's not fun. It certainly is not normal. It's hell. It's torture. It's torment. It's the most crushing, devastating, heartbreaking, shattering, damaging thing that any incel man ever has to go through or live with himself for his entire life. Feeling like he missed out on so much in life, and you know, also just feeling like such an outcast and outsider, and just distancing himself from society, from civilization, from other people, because when it comes to us incel men, we're so different. We're indifferent to the rest of society when it comes to motherfucking men and women who are in relationships and who are so easily able to get into relationships, which is unfair because they don't know what it's like for guys like us to live every day in a life of just absolute hopelessness and despair and heartbreak, and just have such blackened hearts, souls, and minds, and just how crushed we are, how torn apart we are inside. The fact that we're dead inside internally, and nobody tries to like make us feel better. Nobody tries to, you know, see where we come from. Nobody tries to understand us. Nobody ever tries to have any compassion or understanding or sympathy or empathy or pity or sorrow or mercy or whatever for men who are incels. And this is the way our world is. It's so messed up. It really is so messed up. You know, the thing about me too also is that, like, earlier when I was talking about how when I used to go to the church that my parents go to and that they love and enjoy, and that's, you know, fine for them. I mean, I'm glad that they have that, whatever. But when I did, it's like, and I would look at the really stunningly beautiful, attractive Ukrainian women who went to that church. Not only did it make me feel uncomfortable and nervous and nerve-wracking and stressed out, that not only are they as smoking hot as they are, but like I also said and explained, hopefully in good detail, about how they're culturally different than me, but also, like, they don't speak the same language either. And, you know, of course they eventually do learn to speak English, but it's hard and difficult for them because, you know, Ukrainian and English are not the same language, and it's hard to learn a new language. It's easier said than done. And so that's like another barrier that's, like, you know, I don't know if, you know, if they speak English or Ukrainian, like, and, you know, it's not like I would ever talk to them. I don't even know if I would get along with them. So I don't even risk it. I don't even bother. I don't even make that attempt. And even other Americans, other English people who go to that church are pretty much the same way. It's like there's like a segregation, like a division or a divide between the English Americans and the Ukrainians. Because the Ukrainians all kind of sit together and are together, whereas all the English Americans were on, like, one side, and it's like we're not even on the same planet. So yeah, so I did not like or enjoy going to that church. And when I saw one of the weddings, that was traumatizing for me. That was a traumatic experience, and because of that, I was like, I'm never coming back here. That's when I made the ultimate decision and choice to never again go to their church ever again, if I could help it. I was just like, no, absolutely not, never again. And obviously, you know, I feel bad and guilty that I don't go, because my parents really desperately want me to go, and I know that they're hurt that I don't go to their church, or any church for that matter, but they just don't understand. They don't understand where I'm coming from, and why I don't, and why I can't, or why I at least feel and strongly believe that I can't. But of course, because of how much they're in pain and how hurt they are that I don't go to their church or any church, it makes me feel guilty and bad. It makes me even feel worse. You know, I just don't want to partake in going to church or partake in any normal thing of society, because I don't fit in with the rest of the crowd. I don't belong with them. I have nothing in common with them. I'm indifferent to them, and therefore I want nothing to do with them. I just want to be left alone. Seriously, like, that's all I want, is to just be left alone. Left with my own thoughts that are the only company I have. And even since I dropped out of high school, my thoughts and feelings were and are the only company that I've had and have come to just accept, even a long time ago, even when I was still a teenager, and allowed to fully take over me. And, you know, my body is their harbor. I have held on to my feelings and thoughts or whatever ever since I dropped out of high school as a teenager. And I've been that way ever since. Nothing's changed. Nothing has gotten better. Nothing has improved. And I don't want to improve. I have no desire, longing, or yearning to improve anything about myself because I never did. Because that's the whole point of being a black-pilled incel. That's the whole idea and point of being so hopeless and full of despair and brokenhearted and crushed and damaged beyond repair. And having such a traumatizing past that hurts you emotionally so much to the point you cannot and never recover from. And, you know, I've been this way for so long. And that's why I'm used to it as well. Like, you know, to normal people, of course, this is scary and terrifying and horrifying and, you know, weird and bizarre and odd and all that. But to me, it's not. To me, this is normal because I've been this way for so long. And, you know, it's not like I expect any of you to understand or comprehend where I'm coming from. Like, I wish you could. Even when it comes to you normies, I would love it if you were able to understand me. I would. And that would make me happy. And I would even maybe like you and respect you if you took the time and effort and bothered to understand me as a man and as a human being. But you don't, because it's just much easier to poke fun at me and mock me and make, you know, jokes about me and belittle me and degrade me and, you know, beat me when I'm already down and, you know, just keep harassing me and just keep kicking a man who's already so very broken and dead inside. Like, by all means, keep doing that. Be my guest. Because you're going to do it anyway, regardless of what I say or regardless of what I want. You're going to keep kicking me when I'm down and just treating me like absolute shit and just, I don't know. You just don't care. You have no love. You have no compassion, no understanding, no empathy, no sympathy, no pity, nothing of that sort. And, you know, to be honest, there's a part of me that doesn't even blame you normies for never understanding any of us black-pilled incels, any of us nihilists. Because, after all, how could you? When you had such a fulfilling, normal, wonderful, amazing, awesome, spectacular, magnificent life. When you normie faggots got to have relationships. Like, when you normie guys, you know, you got to have girlfriends since you were fucking teenagers in high school that you were fucking and sleeping around with and, you know, just having so much fun and adventure and excitement with. And maybe up until your 20s too. Or maybe in your early 20s you eventually married one of your high school girlfriends and had kids with her or something. And then, like, since you were teenagers, you had a job and started making money, and your parents bought you your first cars. And then you maybe, you know, you moved to another state or another country or another city or something, and you just lived it up in life. And you had just such a normal upbringing. And so how could you ever possibly understand someone who's nothing at all like that? How could you? And also, like, you know, we're so different. And when it comes to us incel men, we're marginalized. Plain and simple. We are so very marginalized. We are a marginalized group of people. We're, if anything, discriminated against. We're oppressed I don't care what anyone says. You know, I would say out of all groups of people all over the world, incels are by far the most marginalized, the most oppressed, and the most discriminated against of any kind of group. More than black people, more than Muslims, more than Jews, more than whatever. Incel men are by far, without a doubt, ultimately at the end of the day, the most discriminated against, the most oppressed, and the most marginalized. And, you know, I don't know, like, I'll end this video with saying this, because I know I've been already kind of droning on for too long anyways, just like I do pretty much in all my videos, because I just have so much to talk about and there's so much on my mind, and I always have ideas to make another video. But I'll end with saying this, that you know, when I see attractive, good looking, beautiful, gorgeous, stunningly hot, sexy women that I wish I could have, that I would love to have, that I want, that I feel that I need, but also at the same time don't think that I deserve, or that I'm worthy of, or that I feel entitled to. And the thing about me is I don't feel, you know, like when I look at women that I like, that I'm sexually attracted to and aroused by, I don't just think, you know, that they deserve better because I'm trying to be like humble and meek and trying to like show that I'm actually a pretty like decent human being, maybe deep down somewhere in my broken, blackened heart. No, I'm saying that because I genuinely do believe that I'm not worthy to have a woman. I mean, I practically don't have anything to offer. I don't think I would be a good husband. And I certainly don't think I would be a good father either, even though I wanted to be a husband and I wanted to be a father ever since I was a young teenager. That was one of my biggest hopes and dreams that I had when I was so young. And I really looked forward to that. And I really wanted that to happen in my life. I really wanted that to become a reality for me eventually. And I wanted to get married young. I wanted to get married in my late teens or early 20s at the very earliest. Or not very earliest. Late teens or early 20s at the very latest. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. But obviously, as we can all see and know and tell, that didn't happen for me. And instead, I just fell into a deep, dark, black abyss that I can never crawl out of, that I can never get out of, that I don't want to get out of, because I've been in this deep, dark, black abyss for so long, and this is all I know. This is all I have in my life. I've been this way for so long, and that's why I'm used to this. I am. And you know, I don't know what else to say. But like, I don't think men who do have such easy access to women deserve women either. I don't think that man whores or players, Chads, Tyrones, Pookies, Ray Rays, and whatever, or like Chad Regis or Rice Chad, like Asian Chads or Indian Chads, or like a Curry Chad, I guess, or a Brazilian Chad or whatever, deserve or are worthy of women either, because they're by far the worst men in all of existence. They don't deserve them, nor are they worthy of them, and yet those are the men who, at the most, get the most attention and affection and sexual experience with women. It's disgusting. And that's why I hate this world. I hate our society. I hate our culture. Everything is messed up. Everything is upside down. And you know, I often wonder and am curious of like, are women in other countries better than American women? Because sometimes I don't think so. I'm not convinced. I have a hard time believing that women in other countries are probably any better than American women. That they're like, if like, I don't know if they're better or worse or just about the same. I don't know. But let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.